So, I'd like to start off by saying that I don't have a fucking clue why I'm posting this at all, really. Maybe I'm afraid of dying or something. The events described in this story happened a month and a half ago in Shenandoah, West Virginia. Although I typed this up about 2 weeks ago. I just haven't really had the guts to post this until what happened yesterday. The story starts in late September, when my family went to go visit our relatives who invited us up to celebrate one of them, Desiree, getting, I don't know, $2,000 in some scratch-off lottery thingy. They live in this really fucking shitty part of Shenandoah that people from Charlestown, Shepherdstown, and Ranson, basically the least rednecky parts of West Virginia, they like to call it Squalor Haller. It's way up on the mountain, and exactly like how everybody pictures it when they hear about it. Nothing but ramshackle shacks, rusty-ass rebuilt trailers, everything fucking covered in decades-old Christmas decorations because they're all too busy being smelly rednecks to ever clean up. Real deliverance shit, just no rivers or canoes. The relatives we were visiting are absolutely confirmed inbreeders. All cousins just fucking each other. We don't refer to them as aunt, uncle, whatever, they're just relatives. Not terrible people or anything, just absolutely cartoonish, depressing hillbilly stereotypes. You know what I mean? So anyway, we're up here in this goddamn trailer and it sucks. There's like 8 of them, plus me, my dad, my mom, and my sister. About 2 hours in, my mom takes my cell phone so that I can focus on family time together, which is bullshit. All we did the whole time was eat TV dinners and be forced to watch NASCAR and shit. After 6 hours of this shit, about 10 minutes before we're supposed to leave, it starts raining. We know how treacherous the roads can get up on the mountain, so we decide to wait for the rain to die down. Fast forward 2 hours later, it's fucking dark as hell, 10 o'clock, and there's a flood warning in the area. I have my phone back by this time, no reception though, of course, and I'm playing Tetris and Texas Hold'em and stuff. When suddenly I hear my dad start just losing his shit in the next room. I walk over and it turns out my relatives let slip that they'd buried their kid, Thomas, outside. And apparently were afraid the rain would wash up his body or some other horse shit. The kid was 6, he was attacked by a dog, but they never told the cops. They just fucking buried him like he was a family pet. My dad's flipping his shit, and rightfully so, because, we live in the 21st fucking century and all that. So our relatives all say they'll sort it all out in the morning. My parents tell me and my sister to stay in the same room as them during the night, and we do. None of us really suspected that they'd, killed Thomas or anything, since they're real peaceful. They didn't even own any guns aside from the one old-timey double-barrel shotgun they had on the mantle. But nevertheless, we were creeped the fuck out, and intended to call the cops in the morning once we got into town. So, it was 3 in the morning? I couldn't sleep. Power had gone out for the 5th time or so, and I'm not able to charge my fucking dead phone. Worst part is, I could see Thomas's little grave right outside the window. Little cross on it and everything, and I assumed the kid couldn't have been buried deep at all since they were so worried about him just washing up out of the fucking grave. So I was just fixated on it. Kept being drawn to look out the window and stuff. And then I saw the worst fucking thing in my entire life. Something was creeping through the trees toward the house. I stared at it for a while, but I couldn't get a good look at it since it was raining and the brush was so fucking thick. For a few minutes, I thought it was just, 2 really pale horses kinda ambling through the woods side by side. But then it walked into the moonlight. And I saw that it was all one thing. Kinda like a human torso, but wider. It finally stepped fully into view, and I saw it had something like 6 fucking legs. Kinda somewhere between a beetle's legs and a horse's legs. 2 arms, right about where someone would normally have them, but they were about 1.5 feet longer than any normal human arms. It had a bald head, but the face looked like one of those fucking bizarre masquerade ball kind of mask things. This fucking clenched up furrowed forehead and a nose that looked sort of like a crow's beak or a raven's beak. It didn't have eyes either, just these depressions where eyes would go. It looked like it had a human mouth under its proboscis. What still strikes me to this day is that it seemed to have a penis, too. Like, right on the fucking abdomen where a normal person's dick would be. The thing moved sorta gracefully and made these soft thumping noises when it moved. It must have been 7, 8 feet tall, but sounded like it weighed maybe only 150 pounds at most. It starts walking toward Thomas's grave, and then I finally snap out of whatever trance I was in and just start fucking screaming. My mom is the first to wake up, and I tell her to look out the window. She rushes over and doesn't really seem to understand what the hell she's looking at. After a minute, though, the thing bends down and it just starts pawing at the grave with its hands. My dad and Jasper rush in, and Jasper is just fucking losing his shit. Screams like a little girl, runs back out of the room, yelling for his father, yelling, "It's outside! It came and it's outside!" I look back and see the thing is just digging furiously at the ground. Kicking up just huge amounts of dirt. I hear these sounds of feet running around the house. I think they were looking for the shotgun. The thing reaches into the hole it dug and grabs up what I assume was Thomas's body by the leg in one hand. The thing kinda gallops back into the woods, snapping all these branches and shit, and then that's when we all hear it. A kid crying. The sound of a child sobbing and crying from the direction that thing took off in. We left as soon as the rain let up at 5 in the fucking morning. I don't even think we told anyone at the house. Drove straight back to Ranson, stopping only for gas. No one said a word to each other. My family refuses to speak about what happened. I tried to bring it up once just to make sure it was real. My dad told me to shut the fuck up, so I did. I typed this up about 3 weeks after it happened, but just saved it to a notepad file and left it alone. Never mentioned it to any of my friends or anything, just tried to erase it from my mind by getting absolutely fucked up drunk whenever my thoughts lingered on it. It mostly worked, up until yesterday. See, I work at this gas station in Ranson from 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. I work the register, keep the place clean, and take out the trash. Yesterday, when I was bringing the trash bags over to the back of the building for the dude in the morning to take care of, I heard what I assumed to be some fucking junkie around in the dumpster. I yelled at whoever it was a couple of times to get the hell out before I called the cops. But as I walked toward it, the sound, I heard those same footsteps. That soft thump, thump, hooves or feet, or whatever the hell they were. I turned right around and went back into the store and hid behind the fucking counter. I looked over at the outside security camera and see some kind of movement from just off screen. Just something huge casting a shadow and moving. Caught a glimpse of, I don't fucking know, an elbow or something. A pale limb darting in and out of view. It had to have been the same thing. It had to be. I waited for it to leave, and after a while it did. I woke up behind the counter at 6 a.m. this morning to my manager giving me this fucking look like I'm a drug addict or something. I went home, typed the rest of this up, and, well, that's about it. YouTube doesn't like what I'm doing, but I get the feeling that you do. If it's true that you do, you can support the channel on my Patreon located in the description below. Thank you for tuning in. Good night.